my gosh, this is so fun. Shouts out, give me a shout if you're related to me. My mom is the sweetest little stage mom. She just was like, oh, I just realized I haven't been to Betsy's comedy shows in a while. I'll send out a group chat. She brought 16 people. She's such a little sweetie. Look, she's filming me right now. Look at this Kris Jenner little bitch. Oh, hi, sweetie, you're doing great. I love her so much. When I first told her, I was like, I'm gonna do stand-up comedy. A lot of parents would be like, not supportive. And I told my mom, I was like, I'm thinking about doing stand-up, and she was like, I don't know, are you ready for the stress of fame? She was like, when I go into a Broadway theater, she's like, be careful going to Chicago, they're gonna cast you. It's so cute. But the flip side of it is that stage moms are also kind of tiger moms, but me and my brother are kind of incompetent, so it's more of a lolcat mom. She's trying to get us to do stuff, and we're like, we'll do this. My mom, any Dr. Barbara fans in the house? Anyone else who knows her? Come on, clap it up. My mom is a world-renowned sex therapist, so that was fun for me growing up. Not so fun for my brother, who's also here. We used to, whenever we were getting in roast battles, I would be like, no one's ever gonna be as good at sex as mom. And he's like, my parents are super cute, they're super in love. Growing up in my house, it was kind of like the Addams Family, because the mom and dad are kind of always making out. The kids are kind of weird, and the house is kind of creepy because I come from a long line of hoarders. Yeah, it was nice. It was nice growing up with a sex therapist mom, but yeah, she's got a lot of I'm just gonna talk about her. Look, she's still filming. I decided I'm just talking about her tonight. I've never actually talked about anything about my mom on stage because it almost feels like cheating. It's not fair. I wouldn't be my accomplishment. You're just funny by yourself. She is really funny. She roasts me all the time. She calls me the socialist socialite because she's like, oh, you're so BLM. She thinks I'm one of those woke white women who's just doing too much, which 100%, yeah, I am. And just some of my favorite burns from her have been, oh, you think you're non-binary just because you identify as Gen Z and old, it's easy to be anti-capitalist when you have no capital. It's all funny. She's filled with a lot of contradictions, paradoxes. She's so cute. Mom, I'll also filming. It's okay. Mom, enjoy the show. She's not. She can't. I'm gonna be a star. She's got to film this. But yeah, so. Yeah, what was I saying about her? Oh yeah, she's got a lot of, she's kind of an enigma, a paradoxical woman, if you will. She's, a medical doctor, but she does not believe in Western medicine. I'm I don't want to say anything to get her license revoked, but let me say she was a little skeptical of the COVID vax, I actually recently decided to go back to grad school to get my degree in artificial intelligence from Columbia. Give it up. And I was telling my mom, I'm going to be on campus full time, so I'm going to get the COVID vaccine. And she was like, I don't know, sweetie, these vaccines, you don't know what could happen. They could contain mercury, God forbid, that could cause autism. And I was like, Mom, it's a computer science program. Literally counting on that. Don't really see how I'll get through it otherwise. What else? Yeah, she's a therapist, and yet she thinks I'm a pussy for seeing a therapist. She's like, oh, you're still doing that? Oh my god. Weak. And I'm like, what do you say to your patients? She's like, I'm totally different with them. She's a sex therapist, actually, if you really want to know the truth. Oh, I already told you that many times. She's a sex therapist, but she's also very how do I say it? She's really feminist. She's all about closing the pleasure gap, doing all her work to help female sexual function, written many books. And so you'd think she'd be a feminist, you think she'd really support the Me Too movement, but she was like, I don't like this. I don't like what's happening in the workplace. And I'm like, why, Mom? And she's like, no, what about the girls that want to sleep their way to the top? You ever think of that? And I'm like, yeah, Mom, it sucks for me. It sucks for us. No, I love Me Too. I honestly, it's helped me a lot in my career as a software engineer. Just got a raise again. I love Me Too. I just kind of wish they had chosen a less useful phrase, Me Too. Kind of comes up a lot, I was at the bar before, and with my girl, she's like, can I have a vodka soda? And I was like, me I mean, I would like one as well, please. Because I don't want to say it and accidentally summon the spirit of Ronan Farrow. She's so busy these days. What else? I was going to say about Me Too. Yeah, I did learn a lot from Me Too, even though I thought I knew like everything about like consent and sex stuff just from, you know, pre-K at my home. But I did learn a lot from Me Too. Like, did you know that consent is like an ongoing contract, and like you could be into something and you could change your mind. You could be having sex 1 second, you know, with a guy and then be like, just no, not anymore. It's great. Now I always do that right after I come. And, you know, whatever boyfriend I'm currently with is like still inside me. I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry, that's just like as far as uncomfortable. That's as far as I'm comfortable going with you tonight. He's like, you're selfish bitch. What else do I want to talk about? Last night I went to the LCD Sound System concert at Brooklyn Steel. Yeah, give it up. You guys, is anyone else going? They're doing like a residency again. It's super fun. I went to like their big super spreader show last year. Amazing. The viral load was insane, and it was really good. But yeah, they always do this thing where they like, the guy, like the lead singer, he needs to like talk a little bit in between. And I was there with my friend, and my friend's like, oh, why is he doing this? It's so lame. And I'm like, you know, like, and he's like, does he think we're gonna like this? I'm like, no, this is not for us, this is for him. Like, he needs to get off too. I'm like, it's kind of like when a guy dirty talks, and you're like, okay, they're like, yeah, you like that song? Yeah, you like that song. You're gonna really like this next one. He was like, you gotta just kind of like pretend that you're super into it so that they can have their fun too. And I'm like, I don't know, in a way I'm sort of like, why don't they just do what I do, which is like, I secretly dirty talk? Does anyone else do that? I thought that everyone did this. I ran this joke on a few people. I was like, that's gonna kill. Everyone secretly does it. No, I do this thing where I'll secretly dirty talk myself and be like, I would never say this to him, but like he would be so turned on if I did. What else, guys? I guess that's just about my time. I love you, Mom. Thanks for being the sweetest. I'm Betsy Carroll. Thank you.
Betsy Carroll, give it up for her. And her mom, thank you for getting roasted by your daughter. Guys, you're being awesome, and we have some more show for you to go. This next comedian, he's very fun.